And you're watching me on Popdiaries channel, and I'm in conversation with a very brilliant, talented and beautiful cast of Paar. Yes, it is releasing on Disney plus Hotstar very soon. So now, firstly I have to tell you guys that I have watched a little bit of it and I'm already excited to see what there is ahead क्योंकि पूरा देखने के लिए नहीं दिया मेरे को सिर्फ थोड़ा ही बोला देखो और सिर्फ उसके ऊपर ही पूछो that's why I am inquisitive to know. In a way I feel that it's a very important series as well to be watched. And I might be wrong, but correct me if I am wrong. But it has a very deep, introduction of tribal culture as well, especially that of India. And it's very important to have that culture inclusive in our entertainment. So I think in a way that is also being portrayed through a very sideline stream. So any thoughts about that, like going into that kind of a culture, because you are a part, you get into that thing with your character and you are also a part of it. So anything to say, add on to that?
So I think Siddharth sir should talk about it because he's the one who's written it and I'm sure he has a clearer picture
Exactly.
about it.
Actually, I do have some doubts with that whole thing, so I'll go there afterwards, but
yeah. So you want me to answer this one?
Yeah,
So it was intentional to go into the culture because I think we've not done anything so far, and somewhere tribes represent raw nature, peace, and they are pretty much complete in themselves until we enter that world. तो एक पुराना शेर है कैफी आजमी साहब का, उसमें कि शोर यूं ही नहीं परिंदों ने मचाया होगा, शहर से जंगल में कोई जरूर आया होगा. Something to this. So this is the whole truth. When you disrupt the peace, so that was the whole idea. Because it represents peace, it represents completeness, it represents wholeness. So वो जरूरी था कि उस तरफ भी हम थोड़ा देखें. So that.
And Siddharth sir, because we are on you right now, I want to ask, when I was looking at the first episode and I was also reading the synopsis before that, I felt like there was a kind of a reference, because I don't know, have you guys seen DC Arrow? No. Has any one of you seen? Over there also the main character is using arrows, okay, and he's also in a way a protector of the people he loves. So was there a reference drawn from these kind of superheroes?
No, I think superheroes to Amitabh Bachchan. That's how I've grown up with.
That's true.
Yeah, so it's an underdog who has to grow up. This is what we've grown up with, Salim Javed and Amitabh Bachchan. And तीर तो Robin Hood भी चलाता था. So I haven't seen DC Arrow. I will see now. But yeah, the whole thing is no reference there. Otherwise, it's underdog story.
Patralekha, you have done characters which have very vivid shades. In Paar, what was the most important thing that made you say yes to your character?
I had to audition for the part, and I mean, it's more than me. I think Siddharth sir must have seen something that was closer to the part, and Glenn sir and Ankush sir, the directors. But it just ticked all the correct boxes for me. I always wanted to work with Siddharth sir. It had a great cast, and the story is very unique.
Yes,
something that's not been shown or seen. Not shown is not the correct word, but seen on the OTT or films.
Yeah.
So that really excited me a lot.
Any similarity that you drew from your character, like something that you think that even Patralekha kind of relates to?
See, like the apple doesn't fall very far away from the tree, right? I mean, there has to be some connection with the character, with the story. So probably, perhaps there was something. I think she is also very vulnerable, and she's just working her way out according to the situation.
True. Okay, Aditya. Such contrasting shades I have seen in one character. Okay, there is that ease as well as an Adivasi, but then there's that that intense feeling as well when you're enacting, the kills and etc. Sorry for the spoiler. But yeah, so when you're doing that, how did you manage such a contrast? Like two shades, it's kind of a two shade of a character. How did you manage that?
I think while it may seem very distinct and kind of like, black and white when viewed together,
Yes.
I think the journey that the character lives is a journey, right? So it is an evolution, or even in many ways a deterioration also in certain aspects of himself, of his values, of his morals, of his principles. So I think I saw it as a journey. Of course, there is that element of, when you're shooting, you're not necessarily shooting chronologically, so you don't
Yes.
you don't often get the chance to grow into the character. It's just the idea of sort of knowing the story well enough to be able to jump from place to place in the story, as opposed to jumping from person to person, if that makes sense,
Okay.
So if I'm shooting something for the middle of episode 3 and then jumping to the finale of episode 7, then I should kind of have that mapped out, which is kind of different from how it would be perhaps acting in a film or acting on stage. So I think that for me was the way I try to approach it. And then baki it is,
इसे सुनने में इतना अच्छा लग रहा है, करने में बहुत difficult.
No, but baki to, honestly speaking, when you have people like Siddharth sir, our directors, Glenn, Ankush sir, you just lean on them, boss. Eventually, you're just leaning on them.
Yeah.
You're doing what you think is right, and then you're saying, "Ke boss, if they don't like it, they will let you know, and you will do it again." That's the beauty of working in such a long format story with such wonderful people. So that's
True,
the way I
very
would
true.
put it.
I can't obviously argue with that point. Sumit, I want to understand, there are so many people who have done, the characters in khaki, uniform, etc. Any references that you have drawn from them? Anyone that comes in particular?
For the show,
Yes.
no, not for this show particularly. I'm not in khaki.
Yeah, like kind of
That's
in
actually
that
something
way.
I loved about because the kind of cops that I observed and liked are the ones who are working for the crime branch and
Yes,
are
yes.
investigating officers. So their demeanor is very different, although they're all trained to do the khaki stuff. तो उस लिहाज से नहीं, I've actually had a certain encounter with people from the CBI for something, and
Yes.
I was really fascinated by the way they carried themselves,
I
because they would
know,
just
it's very
blend
good.
in, they would just talk about regular stuff and so sharp. They knew everything before we could think about it, So it was very interesting to observe them. वो जरूर थोड़ा थोड़ा रखा है.
I'll talk to you before also, and you always give interesting answers only.
Interesting person.
Exactly, I have to say, yes, absolutely. And I've told him that we need to sit down and just, without even cameras, we need to talk. There's
We
just
must,
so much to
we
know.
must, whenever you say.
Okay, to all four of you, I want to know what, according to you, because the writer has a different perspective, and the actors have a different perspective. What do you think is the USP of the show?
It's a story that's not been shown before. Like I said, I'm
Yes, very
repeating
unique.
myself. Very unique. And I think the scale, it goes from a jungle to, it grows big. It's in the teaser also, right?
Yes,
Romania.
yes.
So I feel the scale, and just like it's at the end of the day, it's just human emotions. It's solid human story.
Good.
I would say
Over
it's
to
the
you.
novelty of the world for me. I don't think it's been explored much in Indian film and television. It has been, but not
Yeah.
not very, very much. And I think that for me was the biggest draw as a viewer. And I think the bold leaps that Sir and his team of fantastic writers have sort of taken, I think it's gutsy and it's fierce.
That is also true. Okay, so maybe.
Yeah, it's the same thing. I mean, I think the canvas of the show is so huge. It's a massive show in
Yes.
terms of the scale of it, and in terms of from where the story travels from point A to point B. But the heart of the story is still
a very simple human story, and that's very hard to achieve. To have that canvas and still to try and
Yes, like the big
protect
picture
that,
and then that small
that
picture.
small, like Interstellar is essentially a story
Yes.
about a father and daughter.
True.
You know what I'm saying? So it's very hard to achieve that. So and it's a tough one to put together.
A very good example put across. Over to you, sir.
No, so I think there are two worlds. The worlds which we are listening is unique, and what excites me most is the journey of the characters, all characters, apart from the main character. It's a huge character arc. I have thought it seasonally, so I've broken it seasonally. So hopefully, it happens that way.
I am sure it will do very well amongst
you
the
so much.
audiences because we haven't seen a story like this before, not explored it so much in depth. So it's definitely a unique factor adding to our whole OTT scene. On that note, according to the title, that one life situation where you've thought that abhi to aar ya paar ho hi jaye.
मुझसे तो मत ही पूछना। 3 साल से काम कर रहा हूँ, इस बार पार हो जाए।
Okay, who wants to go first?
Please, ma'am.
I mean, Arya Paar is like everyday situation. You're always hustling. But kabhi aar hote ho, kabhi paar hote ho. But the point being is you, agar paar nahi hue, to what, you stop loving? No.
Absolutely.
You go for it. You go for the kill.
Very close to home. Okay, Aditya.
ये मैंने पहले भी कहा था. I think I've played as a goalkeeper when I was playing football professionally. तो वहाँ पे तो आपने गोल खाया तो आर पार वही तो है सब. आप रोक दिए तो बस पार हो गया. नहीं तो आर. So I think it was very much that the black and white nature of being a goalkeeper.
Okay, and over to you.
चूंकि 7वीं बार पूछा गया ये मैंने सोच लिया है ये
Oh,
इसका
great.
एक आंसर I think
Something new.
2000, around 2009 or 10 I was doing one TV show and then it kind of did well and then I was offered another TV show and the money was so good and it was a very lucrative and I was also very poor so I needed the money also. But then I realized that if I do this one more time I'll never be able to do something else. So I have to not do this.
Okay.
And then I didn't do anything for a good 1 or 2 years. वो काफी आर पार था, पार निकल गया था मैं उस चक्कर में. हाँ. And then thankfully I got some part and then some part.
This part of you. This is the part. Last time also when I was talking to him, he did the same thing. He used to say all these kind of situations in this way where I couldn't stop laughing about it.
And then he goes and makes things that are cultural phenomenon.
Very true. Okay, so we have a small, very tiny, small game for you guys. Okay, so basically you guys have to take on the internet slang challenge.
Oh dear.
I'm going to give you, yes, but this is very easy. I'm sure you guys will know.
Okay,
And
so
you
what
just
do
have
you
to
have to
make a sentence out of it as well.
Okay, so each person gets a word. And
Yes, like kind of. And if somebody doesn't get it, I will help, Baba, don't worry.
Fantastic.
I know that somebody is.
Actually, on that note, I want to start with you only. Okay, so rent free.
Rent free.
Yes.
There's a slang for it?
This
This is the slang word actually for a full phrase. Like,
Yeah. There is a
Yeah,
full
like-
phrase, and then rent free is part of that phrase.
Okay, I have no clue. My generation is
basically
rent
someone
free now.
living in your mind completely
Rent.
free all the time.
They're not. You can't get your mind off of it.
Yes, like kind of.
You can't get your mind off of it.
You can't
Right.
stop thinking about it.
Please, there are 3 writers here. Please ask them.
Okay. Goat. G-O-A-T. Goat.
So it's
Where
very
is
easy.
free?
na?
It's tasty.
The better alternative for biryani.
Okay. Okay. I-K-Y-K.
You know.
Yeah.
I know you.
If you know.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
That's your.
I know, you know. What do we all know?
IK, YK, RN Par is going to be.
Super! Absolutely super. Okay, IDC.
I don't care.
I don't care, right?
Yes, she's completely on
She's a
point.
champion. These are quite these are slam dunks.
She's Paar.
Okay.
I am surprised.
Yeah.
So anything that you guys don't care about anymore now?
I only see about making a sentence for you right now.
Okay, I called that. Okay, AF.
Yeah.
It's
That's fine.
self-explanatory. Okay. AFAIK. It's I fake, something like that. Yeah. He's closing into his expression right now. It's the most hilarious one. Yeah. It's as far as I know.
As far as I know.
God.
अरे भाई.
As far
But
as
these
I
are all just abbreviations, no?
Yeah, like kind of, yeah, but
मैं ये
these are
सोच रहा हूँ कि
slang.
यार भाषा में अगर स्क्रिप्ट लिखे तो बहुत छोटी हो जाएगी.
पेज काउंट कम करने का यही
इसका
तरीका
रिकॉर्ड
है.
करने का ये बहुत अच्छा तरीका है. Generally, you know, writer ask कि मैं करता हूँ.
BTW.
30 पन्नों की स्क्रिप्ट जो है मैं 12 ही पन्नों में निपटाता हूँ.
Thank you so much for being
Thank
such
you.
warm guests on
Thank
Pop
you.
Diaries channel, and I hope the audience loves the show. I'm already intrigued into the show already, so I want the story to unfold as soon as possible. Okay, so guys, that was Arya Paar cast with Pop Diaries channel. Please do go watch it on Disney Plus Hotstar. And on that note, on Pop Diaries channel, if you like this video, like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to click on the bell icon.